Technology truly has made everything easier for mankind, but Vera is just happy that the robots haven't replaced them yet. She took the MRT to her destination as she did every day for the past 12 years. Where to? The virtual center as it was for virtually everyone else. Everything surely has changed for the past years. Technology has paved way for a foolproof system that it could record every bit of anomaly in every area. Back in high school, Daya thought that this could never work, but she was proved wrong when her brother Nick and his friends tried shoplifting. Her brother escaped the scene, but because the government computers have records of every person in the country, a letter came in for her father about the incident. Nick returned the silver bracelets he stole from the store. He would be risking a criminal record, and their guardians would have restricted access from their bank accounts if he did otherwise.
Where's your brother?
On a strike, rebelling as usual.
Why should anyone rebel? So maybe our lives aren't as great as those of the people we take care of. But we certainly have things a lot better than our parents did. At least everybody has a job. Would he rather farm?
Since the government restricted provisions and privileges to those who work and retired, the only way you could provide for yourself is through farming in the few wild spots left. Only few people know how to do traditional farming. Computers and robots took care of cultivation and processing nowadays. Who would want to work that hard?
Nick complains that our time is just like our grandparents' time. There is class division. There's no way out of it unless you can afford to pay someone to take care of you for life. They pay us just enough to feed ourselves and clothe ourselves and transport ourselves back to the center. But we're never going to be able to break the cycle.
Well, that's just how things have been throughout history. Don't tell me he's becoming a Marxist like those people back in the 60s. Or was it in the 70s? My god, that was 100 years ago. And they didn't accomplish anything, did they?
Talia remembered Reggie, her first and only love. He had big dreams. He wanted to create a different society free from the government. He asked Delia to come with him, but she was scared so she refused. His lifeless body was shown on the evening news a few weeks later, along with his makeshift vehicle. Nick assumed that he was attacked by the robot patrol helicopters. Delia always thought that it was an incident. One man alone seeking for freedom wasn't a threat to society. Was he?
These bodies strapped on chairs reminded Delia of her grandparents on their life support machines, and her mother when her kidney disease got the best of her. These people are not ill though. They are the rich who gave up on the ordinary life and are now living the virtual life. This is what the center is all about. The people have several equipment attached all over their bodies, equipment that enable them to live the life they oh so desired. Through a simulation, Marielle and Delia work as caretakers. They monitor the individual bodies. Caretakers keep an eye out for any distress and listen to the requests in which they put into the computers. If cared for properly, the rich under simulation won't die. If they did, the contract of the caretakers would be terminated. Caretakers work the whole day every day until the bell rings. Marielle had Roberto Polaes under her monitoring. She calls him Dom. The girl on Marielle's side had a female movie star. Nick's supposed ward was a former politician. Delia had one of the youngest. He was about 10 years older than Delia, but he looked about her age. Under the refrigerated climate, the bodies hardly age. Delia's ward is Arthur, a once famous singer.
Hello, Art.
I don't see how he could have become rich as a singer. I'm glad I have a quite religious woman to work on.
And this is who you're assigned to, one of the caretakers. Nick is usually the one who cared for him, but as you know, he's not here right now. You don't have to shake it. The electronic gloves take care of making him feel the pressure. The electrodes send a message to the glove that he imagines he's shaking someone's hand. And that's when he feels it. Your job is to detect signs of complex emotions, mostly negative ones, and input them into recommendations for relieving them. You have the emotion and symptom charts?
Yes.
We veterans don't bother with that anymore, but you're better refer to that now and then. Any questions?
Yes, if the support system is programmed to make their lives go the way they want it, how come they still feel unhappy sometimes?
Hi, that's tough one. Well, I think it has to do with the hormones, and that what they want changes. And sometimes it has to do with the fact that some people like to feel pain. Like this old lady. She's always complaining that something hurts, and I input that into the computer. Then she says, "Thank you, Hijo," or "That's my good girl," or something like that. In the profile they gave me, there's this essay she wrote when she says she wants to be in the virtual world where her children won't leave her and will take care of her all her life.
What problems does this man have?
He gets into the arguments and the computer sets it up that he wins every time.
Mine is pretty happy, as long as he gets on with his girlfriend. He likes making her jealous and the computer arranges it that they always forgive him. Dell seems happy all the time.
Gets frustrated sometimes. Though, when a song he's practicing doesn't sound right to him, the computer works it out so that he gets distracted from the song. But there are things the computer can't do, like make a song sound perfect. Not when Art himself doesn't know how he wants it to sound.
Nick has always been against the government. He's had multiple actions challenging the system. He refused to work after high school graduation. He wanted to go to college. College graduates supervised factories, stores, or the center, saving up until they could afford a virtual life. Some of them became teachers who made slightly less than supervisors, but occupied an exalted place in society. They were assured of a virtual life upon retirement, paid for by the government. Their father became ill, and so Nick reluctantly joined Delia to work at the center so he could help out. Art spent his day with his girlfriend. He never found the perfect girl for him in the real world. He complained how nobody really understood him in his essay. Sure, he was popular, but the people who lived with him always told him he took things way too seriously and laughed at the stuff that were important to him. By the time he chose to go virtual, his popularity was flagging. He wasn't as young as he used to be, and he was afraid that his imagination and energy were waning. Delia wished that she'd known him before he went to the virtual life. She would have understood him. The rest of the day went like the usual. The final bell rang and they went their own way to go home. Delia thought she saw Nick with the crowd, but she brushed off this thought. He's probably leading a demolition at the Malacanang. She grabbed her wallet in her pocket and noticed that it was missing, so she went back to Arthur's place.
I love you.
Nick, what are you doing here? What have you done?
No, I can't believe I set off the bombs too early. My fault for being too excited. Are you alright, Del?
Explain now. Because the authorities will be here soon, and I'd like to know what to tell them.
Oh, don't worry about them. They think the door has safely trapped me here until they're finished attending to the hysterical people outside. The security system didn't take into account someone blasting off the glass with homemade bombs and climbing through on a rope anchored to the steel with an electromagnet, also homemade and pretty strong. Another fault of our government.
Some of these people could die. That lady. Look at her. The one who's always praying. She must be over 80, 90, or 100 years old. Don't you understand that?
Okay, I concentrate my energies on the younger ones like this guy.
But why?
They are the ones who've entrapped us in our lives, Delia. Because of them, we've lost our freedom to choose on how we make a living. Our entire lives center around taking care of the rich, so their money will take care of us.
What's wrong with that? Seems like a fair arrangement to me. I was always happy with it.
Are you happy that they control the government? That they made the rules before they went out like this, and we continue to follow them like program robots? We're kept so busy by their demands that we've even stopped noticing what an unhealthy place the real world is becoming.
So what? Someday we could go virtual too. Who knows?
If everyone were living the virtual life, who would keep us alive? They set up the system in such way that we will never get out. Come on, buddy. It's time to see what happened to the real world since you've gone.
Oh,
Don't be scared.
what is this? A morgue?
It's a ward for people who just want to rest.
I'm starving.
There's food there. Help yourself.
I need my beauty sleep.
Thanks, miss. What's your name?
I already know your art.
Do I know you?
I'm a fan.
Don't lie to them. How can I accomplish my purpose if they don't know the truth? What's the last thing you remember, Art?
Sleeping with my girlfriend.
No, before that, way back. Do the words virtual life means anything to you?
That rings a bell. I remember signing these papers. I wanted a certain kind of life, and they promised it to me. They promised I would never get old or die. I would be free to do whatever I wanted.
Free? That's a good one. Only in your mind.
Well, what other kind of freedom is there?
The old-fashioned kind. The kind of freedom which you don't obtain at the expense of half of the society's freedom. The kind of freedom where you are free to act but not to choose the outcome of your actions. That is freedom.
Well, I was happy the way things were. I miss my girlfriend.
They're after me. Listen, Delia. I'll tell them you weren't involved. They'll probably let you out through the door. But you better escape through the emergency entrance once it's unlocked. And bring who's ever awake and alive with you. Bring them to our house. That ought to be enough.
They don't have cards for the turnstile.
Take them for a walk along the bay then. Do it for me, Delia.
Without a clear thought as to where they would go, Delia grabbed Art and went to the emergency exit.
Things have changed a lot in just a short time. Where are all the boats?
You've been asleep for 12 years. Boats have been phased out. No more international trade, no more need to travel outside of the country. There are MRT systems to take us to the cities and suburbs.
Progress comes with a price. Did you know I practically grew up here? My mother and I live on the grounds of the cultural center. She begged to put food in our mouths. She died suddenly when I was about 11, and I was found by the authorities and placed in an orphan's home. That was where my singing talent was discovered, and the rest is history. I remember swimming here, and fishing too. We didn't really catch much.
Just as well, since a lot of fish were poisoned.
I like watching the boats best though, and sometimes I would dream of stowing away on one of them and seeing the world.
Nowadays, all you need to do is to go to a virtual travel salon.
I didn't think that would really catch on. Virtual travel. That's just like looking through a guidebook. You don't really get to experience a place, do you? You see things, but nothing happens to you. No adventure. I used to climb those and bring down coconuts. I sound like an old man, yearning for the good old days.
You're almost 40, you know. You're 10 years older than me. I'm 29.
Wow, no wonder the world has changed so much.
The boats you talk about, they're in the museums now. There's a naval museum down there. Come on, let's go there.
I wish we could sail this ship.
Where would we go?
Aren't there still uninhabited islands around here?
There are lots.
Maybe we could live on one of them, like those people in that show they used to have when I was a kid, Survivor. Did you ever watch that? They were always showing the reruns.
I don't think I remember seeing that. When I was a kid, technology was all anyone was interested in, virtually especially.
I can't believe I bought into that.
But weren't you happy?
I thought I was. I guess I was. But I always felt there was something missing, and now, after a great escape, I know what it is.
What?
Adventure, challenge, surprise. You know, I could use your help, Dahlia.
But I don't know how these things work.
Not that. I can figure out the mechanism. There's a sail here. I'm sure I can figure out how to set that up too. It's you I want, Dahlia. I need you to face the challenge of starting a new life with me. Will you come?
We only have a few provisions. We could die out there.
We can get some more. Let's take these things as they come. That's how my mother and I did it. And I survived.
Let's do it.
Delia and Art lived a new life on an island. It was a wonderful life, although she frequently missed her father and brother. Art had fun making new instruments while Delia spent the rest of her hours worrying for her child and his future. Should they go back to the polluted cities and work as caretakers? Or should they just stay here and farm? The best decision? She could not decide.